Now, Stephen, thank you for joining me. Brexit gets blamed for everything, pretty much.
Except the weather.
Well, they'll try. They'll try. It'll be something to do with global warming. That's caused by a lot of backlog of traffic and some CO2.
God, you're hardcore, aren't you?
They'll find a way. Stephen, what do you think, then? Is this, in your view, because of Brexit?
No, look, let's go back to first principles. Brexit is here. I voted against it, but I've got to live with it. We've got to live with the rest of Europe. If you listen to French radio, I was listening to France Inter this morning, and they were saying, when they said, why aren't there more people staffing the bus? They said, why the hell should we? You smashed our window. They said, why should we pay to reglaze it? You've decided to leave, we, the Brits, have decided to leave the European Union. Why should they pay to train, staff and finance extra staff there? And if you go to Heathrow Airport now, how many of the entry points there do you see that are staffed? I see normally about 6 out of 20. So, look, obviously, Brexit's made it worse. But this is as nothing compared to what's going to be happening on the island of Ireland. That is really when the chickens are going to come home to roost.
Well, look, you've got 12 booths. It's like when you go to a bank, you see, they're the only ones that don't seem to be able to do their sums. you've got like 10 booths.
That's harsh.
Well, it does seem to be. They've got 10 booths and 2 people at them. You've got 12 booths. You know it's going to be one of the busiest days of the year, or, so far. And you only put half the staff there. And we have given the French a lot of money in terms of policing borders and looking after this sort of thing. So they have budget from the UK to ensure this is done properly.
We have specifically given them some ring-fence money.
Right.
That's mostly to do with coastal security. But don't forget, there's 10,000 vehicle movements today. It's a fantastic number moving through Dover. And, there are alternative ways of crossing. So I think to blame the French, to come up with this...
Why is it not their fault? Look, you've got 12... Look,
it's not their fault, because before June 2016, they could just wave us through. We just had to show our passports. After the horrors of June 2016, which I regret every minute of every day...
Ramona.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but a democratic Ramona. Look, and I tell you what makes it...
You say that. There's a lot of democratic Ramonas who will put blocks in the way. So what we've got here is people who want to go back into the EU, and also the EU themselves who aren't happy with the fact that we've left. And that pressure is actually, I believe, what the hindrance is. It's not actually because of Brexit. It's because people won't allow Brexit to be executed effectively. And this giving only 6 members of staff when you've got 12, and as you said, 10,000 vehicles coming through, they know it's going to be busy, I think is another...
I'm not one of these people who believes in a sort of complete fantasy, like Liz Truss economics. I don't believe in sort of fantasy worlds. We're not going to rejoin the European Union. The European Union, as it existed before 2016, has changed. It is changing all the time. It is a totally different one. But what I do believe is a constructive dialogue. And when you have one of the candidates for the leadership of the Conservative Party and the Prime Minister channeling Margaret Thatcher with pussy bows and posing on tanks and saying she's going to get tough with the French...
I'm going to stop. I'm not going to allow you to get away with that, because I think that's slightly sexist, channeling Margaret Thatcher. I don't think so, pussy bows and stuff like that. Look, she's wearing what she wears.
Pussy bows?
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? Look...
Thank you, at least we're posing on a tank?
Look, they all look, Rishi Sunak and his suntan...
I've never seen him in a pussy bow.
Have you seen his suntan cream and the sunscreen? And, yes, he's got some sunscreen that he gave out to the press, and it says that this will stop... Labour or whatever, it'll stop you from getting red or whatever. Yeah, so, they're both...
I haven't even started on him yet.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that she's doing fantasy economics, first of all. I think that taxing people to the hilt and then expecting an economy to grow is actually the fantasy in reality.
Sadly, it's Patrick Minford who's talking, not her.
Yeah. Well, no, she is talking, and she...
but she changes her position every couple of weeks. Who knows? Next week, she's going to be a Reaganite.
Who, Liz Truss?
Liz Truss, for heaven's sake.
She doesn't change her position every few weeks.
What?
It's a political journey. You can go on a journey.
It's a hell of a journey.
Listen, the worst thing you can do is be somebody who's rigid on your point of view, like Rishi Sunak, when you can see that the things are wrong, carrying on in the wrong direction.
Maynard Keynes said, when the facts change, I change my mind.
Well, that's
what
a good
else should I do? I entirely agree with that. But when you go from end the royal family Liberal Democrat to abolishing money to somehow changing all that from being a passionate Remainer to a passionate Brexiteer. I'm sorry, that is fundamental. That is not just a shift of nuance.
No,
that is a fundamental difference.
No, that's how you think, because you're rigid in your place as a Remoaner, and you can't even see...
I'm a Democrat.
Yeah, you're not really. I think that's what people say. They claim that they're democratic, but then they put things obstacles in the way to make sure that the democratic men...
I'm not a complete mug. There's no way that we can make such a nuisance of ourselves that the rest of Europe is going to say, kill our let us return to this, let us invite the roast beef back again. That ain't going to happen.
Well, it's not
let's
gonna
be
happen because
grown
they
up
want to
and
make
let's have a proper conversation.
Well, that's what we've been trying to do with the French for a long time, especially, I mean, as you mentioned the Northern Ireland Protocol. And, I mean, to be honest, they could create a free trade zone, as they have done with Canada. They have done it with other countries who are not within the EU, but they won't do it. And you know why? It's because they don't want it to make it look easy and that you get the same benefits if you leave, when ultimately that would actually be a solution, wouldn't it?
The reason why they can't do it is
they won't do it, so they can't do it.
I'm sorry, there's a 302-mile border from Donegal to Dundalk. There's no way on God's green earth you could police that border. Nobody even knows where the flipping border is.
They don't need to.
Of course they do. The minute you have border patrols there and you have guard posts, uniformed guard, you're back to Good Friday agreement.
They don't need to. They could create the free trade zone. They could.
But they've tried that in Sweden and Norway. Have you been there? It's a
I have.
joke.
Norway is the most
if you look at
expensive country I've ever been to.
Yeah.
A pint of beer, 15 quid.
Can we agree on that?
Let's agree with that.
Let's agree on that.
No, I don't ever touch it. There's COVID and monkeypox. Crikey, I'm not touching anything.
You accusing me of...
Well, I don't know, do I? Very good to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
That is, of course, Stephen Pound. He's a former Labour MP.